Good day, everyone, and warm welcome to the webinar Empower Her, Drive and Change with Women's Empowerment Principles. I'm Natalia Koszowska. I am a Gender and Social Inclusion Manager with RECONOMY, Helvetas, and I'm honored to be your host today. This webinar is brought to you by RECONOMY, an inclusive and green economic development program of the Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency (SIDA), implemented by Helvetas Swiss Intercooperation in the Eastern Partnership and Western Balkan countries. At the heart of RECONOMY's mission is a commitment to fostering economic opportunities for women and youth, particularly those who are disadvantaged or excluded, and helping them with access to decent and green jobs and increase their income sustainably. Next slide, please, Sabine. And today's focus is on the Women's Empowerment Principles, or WEPs in short, which is a set of globally recognized guidelines that support companies in promoting gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and the community. Why is this important? Because advancing women's economic empowerment is not just a social responsibility, but a business imperative. And companies that prioritize gender equality and create inclusive environments are proven to outperform their peers, foster innovation, and contribute to sustainable growth. As we navigate today's discussion, we will explore how WEPs can transform businesses and empower women to lead and thrive in every sector. Whether you are new to WEPs or already on your gender equality journey, we hope this session will provide valuable insights and practical tools to drive the change. Thank you for joining us today, and let's dive into the session. Next slide, please. On the technical side, we kindly ask you to switch off your microphones until the Q&A session in the end. And please know that this webinar will be recorded, but only shared with the registered participants. And if you're having connectivity problems, please leave the meeting and join in again. We hope this will solve the issue. Please use the chat for comments, reflections, questions, and we will try to address those in the Q&A session afterwards. Next slide, please. It's my honor to introduce to you our distinguished speakers, Archita Faustmann, Human Rights and Governance Advisor from Helvetas Swiss Intercooperation Zurich. She is well-versed in conducting human rights due diligence, particularly within the context of development initiatives and private sector partnerships. Iryna Tytarchuk, National Consultant, UN Women on Support to Private Sector Partners for implementing women's economic empowerment initiatives. Iryna brings a wealth of experience in the practical implementation of the women's empowerment principles across the Eastern Partnership region. Her insights will directly address the key expectations expressed by the participants during the registration. Thank you, and over to Archita.
Thank you so much, Natalia, for the introduction. I'm very glad to be part of this webinar and share also my knowledge on women's empowerment principles. Can we switch to the next slide, please? So this webinar is for 1.5 hours, and the program for the webinar, which you can see here, is first we will discuss about why women's economic empowerment matters. Then we will go into explaining or kind of having the deeper understanding of women's empowerment principles. And the third part we will be covering, which is like engagement opportunities, the tools that are available and which you can make use of. Next slide, please. So now we can see the gender equality and women's economic empowerment. These are the two terms that are used quite often, and how they are kind of connected or interrelated. That is quite important to understand. So gender equality is not just a social or economic issue, it is a fundamental human right. It is recognized globally in key international treaties. which include UN Declaration of Human Rights, ILO principles and rights at work. There are also the international human rights treaties like CEDAW, Economic, Social and Cultural Rights Covenant, and the Beijing Declaration on Platform for Action. At its core, gender equality means that women and men should have equal access to socially valued goods, opportunities, resources, and rewards. However, in many cases, it is women who are often left behind, excluded from key decision-making roles, and denied access to important social and economic resources. A critical part of gender equality is the women's economic empowerment, which means identifying and addressing power imbalances and ensuring women have the autonomy to make decisions and manage their own lives. So women's economic empowerment is essential for achieving both women's rights and true gender equality, which means ensuring that women can participate equally in decent work and access social protection, having control over markets and resources, gaining autonomy over time, lives, and bodies, increasing their voice and agency in economic decision-making from the household to international institutions. And only by empowering women can we truly advance more equal and just society for everyone. So gender equality is kind of overarching issue, and women's economic empowerment contributes towards the gender equality. Next slide, please. So here, if we look at the numbers as to why it matters, the difficult part of getting numbers is we are still lacking on the actual data, which are the latest ones, which I had quite many difficulty in finding. So here are the some which I could find the latest ones on the gender equality. So why it matters is that because 1 in every 10 women is living in extreme poverty. So if current trends continue by 2030, an estimated 8% of the world's female population will still be living on less than $2.15 a day. Then the World Economic Forum's Gender Gap Report of 2024 also shows that at the current rate of progress, women will have to wait around 131 years to close the overall gender gap with men. And globally, over 2.7 billion women are legally restricted from having the same choice of jobs as men. Unpaid care work is essential to functioning of the economic, but it often goes uncounted and unrecognized. So care work, which is central to human and social well-being, this includes caring for children, the elderly, and those with physical or mental and health challenges. And it also covers the daily domestic tasks like cooking, cleaning, washing, like in the rural areas, fetching water or firewood. And without someone investing time, effort, and resources into these essential tasks, entire communities, workplaces, and economics would come to a grind to a halt. Around the work, care work falls disproportionately on women and girls. And as Oxfam, which has quite good reports on this, which has also been kind of mentioned that women and girls undertake over 12.5 billion hours of unpaid care work every day. And if this care work valued at minimum wage, it would contribute at least 10.8 trillion to the global economy each year, which is 3 times the size of the global tech industry. Can we move to the next slide, please? Now, why it matters? There is also an economic aspect to the gender equality. Women and girls, they represent half of the world's population, so therefore they are also half of its potential. A McKinsey report, now this figure is a bit older, which is I think 2015, and that estimates that achieving gender parity in the workplace could add as much as 12 trillion to the global economy. ILO Enterprise Survey on Women in Business and Management provided that gender diverse workforce increased profit between 10 to 15%, And for Europe, this data pointed 34.3% profit increase. Women's economic equality is also good for business. So companies greatly benefit from increasing employment and leadership opportunities for women, which is shown to increase organizational effectiveness and growth. It is also estimated that companies with 3 or more women in senior management functions score higher in all dimensions of organizational performance. Can we switch to the next slide, please? Now there is also the legal framework, which makes it important that the companies should start paying attention to the gender equality. So private sector is an important partner in achieving the sustainable development goals. And then in the last decades, this framework on responsible business conduct, which has been developing, it is still under, quite a lot has been happened over the world, different countries. And this is where the businesses have a responsibility to respect human rights of stakeholders connected to their businesses. This is essential. Recent developments on this are, the EU corporate due diligence guidelines. If we look back, UN guiding principle, which is the core of all of these instruments, OECD guidelines on multinational enterprises. These are the increasing legal framework which are requiring companies to include gender lens to their business operations. There is increased engagement of business sector on responsible conduct through also UN Global Compact. Can we switch to the next slide, please? Now, on the one side, we have the international human rights law framework, which all these guidelines, all the normative framework, and then there is implementation framework. So how to include gender lens, gender equality in the companies. So there are two ways. I mean, the overall framework is the human rights due diligence through gender lens, which is the core of all these instruments. And women's empowerment principles, which have been supported by UN Women and UN Global Compact, they kind of contribute towards the implementation of human rights due diligence. So this is one way of achieving. There are several ways of achieving gender equality or including gender lens into business operations. So these are the two important frameworks. We will not be touching upon the human rights due diligence for this webinar. We can have another webinar on that. For this webinar, we will only be explaining the women's empowerment principles. Now, why we constantly talk about this? Because under the human rights framework, it's mainly the duty of the governments to kind of protect, fulfill human rights. But then under the responsible business conduct, even the businesses have the responsibility to respect human rights, which includes rights of women and girls. So this is why there are lots of reasons that are involved and why companies should start looking at it, because it is also the legal and normative framework. Can we switch to the next slide, please? So women's empowerment principles, so what are they? So they are the joint initiative of UN Women and UN Global Compact. They were launched on International Women's Day in 2010, which was a year-long consultation process, international process, multi-stakeholder process. It provides a roadmap for businesses on how to empower women in the workplace, marketplace, and community. It helps companies mainstream gender equality through business operations and other areas of corporate sustainability. And it elaborates the gender dimension of good corporate citizenship. Can we have the next slide, please? So what are these principles? So in total, there are 7 principles, which you can see here on the slide. So principle 1, it stresses on the leadership role. So this principle provides a basis for successful implementation of all 7 principles. It advises corporate leaders to establish organization-wide goals at every level of the organization for achieving gender equality and ensure progress and success against these goals. This includes designing a WEBS action plan. So I will call Women's Empowerment Principles as WEBS action plan with clear targets and indicators, and it is essential to have ongoing monitoring of progress made against the action plan. Principle 2, which deals with treating all women and men fairly at work. It's about universal international human rights principles. It also translates to better talent acquisition, higher employee retention and satisfaction. And it mainly focuses on equal pay for equal work of equal value, inclusive workplace policies and practices free from gender-based discrimination, gender-sensitive recruitment and retention policies, flexible work options, support to child and dependent care, and women's participation in decision-making at all levels. Principle 3, this is where employers play a key role in protecting and promoting the physical and emotional health, safety, and well-being of women and men employees. It is the employer's obligation to create safe and healthy working environments, which includes ensuring safety when working with hazardous materials, respecting and providing time off for employees' medical care, in addition to preventing and protecting against all forms of violence at work, including verbal, non-verbal, physical abuse, and sexual harassment. Principle 4 focuses mainly on promoting education, training, and professional development for women, where businesses kind of also have to take initiatives on personal development of women employees, which helps foster a gender-sensitive corporate culture, and also advances women's career development at all levels and across all business areas. Principle 5, which expands business relationships with women-owned enterprises, support gender-sensitive solutions that address the financial gap experienced by women entrepreneurs, depict individuals as empowered actors with progressive, intelligent, and multidimensional personalities, and respect dignity of women in all marketing and company materials. Invite business partners and peers to join forces to create an inclusive ecosystem of WEB's signatories. Principle 6 is the companies are increasingly investing in community development programs to make valuable, effective, and responsible contributions to gender equality and women empowerment. Principle 7, which is the most important principle again, it helps to keep track of progress in implementing the WEBs. So transparency and accountability are required for companies to uphold their commitments to gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community, and measuring and reporting mechanisms are crucial to monitor and track progress and performance. Can we switch to the next slide, please? So the WEB's journey represents the 5 stages of companies' engagement with the WEB. So sign, action, capture, engage, and report. And this step-by-step engagement offered to signatories in the form of capacity building, encouragement, and assistance forms the basis for the incentivizing companies to report. And when companies reach the reporting phase, they feature their progress publicly on WEB's reporting platform. So you also become part of the WEB's community consisting of companies which are of any size, industry, established under national law, industry association, and chambers of commerce, who are committed to advancing gender equality and women's empowerment. Can we switch to the next slide, please? So the first step to dive into the WEBs, if your company is considering, is issuing the CEO statement of support for the WEBs. There is an example. So there is on the WEBs platform, you can actually access this tool and see how this to be done. And now, I mean, I have given you kind of an overall framework in terms of the WEBs and also the gender equality, why it is important. Now I hand over to my colleague Iryna to take you through the practical aspects of where we stand and what it means to women's empowerment principles to actually implement in the real life examples. So Iryna, hand over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, colleagues, and hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here and share our experience from Ukraine with companies who is the signatories of women empowerment principles. And we can start from this overview about who are these companies, and what they do to implement these principles. Next slide, please. So generally, we have over 9,000 web signatories worldwide, and almost 40 of them from Ukraine. During the full-scale war, you can see from the screen, 21 companies in Ukraine have signed the WEPs. So you can imagine that they understand the value of this agreement, and they understand the value of cooperation between 40 of them and 9,000 around the world. So among Ukraine companies that are signatories, most are led by male, but companies has these implemented principles not because they understand how important it is to support women, not only because, but also it's about their reputation, it's about their cooperation with businesses similar and businesses who share their values and support women. And also it's because they understand how important it is to help women during the war and after war, after our victory. So the companies has a possibility to check themselves, to do like checkup. We say this. We name this, and the self-assessment level of support of women in workplace for most of these companies range from 10 till 25%. So all of companies from Ukraine is a beginners, and they only start to implement these principles. Next, please. So we see from the screen that the self-assessment, it's the questions and tools about what they do in the workplace and how they implement these women empowerment principles. And sometimes company came to us and say, oh, we have a 50-50 numbers of women and men in the workplace. Oh, we have a very balanced and very equal workplace. Everything good in area. In our workplace. And we always say them, the numbers 50-50, it's quantity, not quality. So let's look more deeply. What are you doing with these women? How they feeling in their workplace? And if we're talking about principles, like 7 of them that my colleagues mentioned. So the first principle, it's more famous principle and more understandable principle for all of our participants. 35% of them said that they very close understand what they should lead in this area and what they should do. This principle, and 35% answers that they do, they share about this agreement and about this status and cooperation between UN Women and companies internally and externally with their stakeholders. They also advocating for gender equality and women empowerment principles in public forums and promotion the company's commitments. They also share this information with their clients. They also developing a company-wide gender equality strategy, what is important document for next 1 or maybe 3-5 years, where is the vision of companies for that connected with women empowerment principles. This strategy should include some numbers. The strategy should include some measurable goals and objectives in the strategy. It should be definitely included. And also what important and what we always pay attention for our companies, it's transparency. Reporting progress and results to the boarding regarding the achievement of strategy commitments and goals, very important for all companies. And if they do this, they can be a role model for another companies. They can show how to help women in the workplace, how to create very safe space in the work, and how to help economy to growing because of their support of women. Next slide, please. Among the most active companies in Ukraine, it's a Ferrexpo company, DTEC, Starlight Media, Intelias, Avenga, Aurora, and other companies. I want to just mention a few examples how they do and what activities they provide according to all principles, and I will mention the case of these companies. So Ferrexpo is an iron ore mining company. It's a huge, big company. They involved in the extraction of iron ore, its beneficent, and production of pellets. So what they do in Principle 1, so they share information about science or agreement with UN Women, internal and externally. They declared ensuring diversity as one of the 5 key strategic goals. And in 2020, the company established the School of Inclusivity for top managers, and they has a separate position, deputy chairman of the board, the lead. They create this position special for coordinate this direction, and it's an ambassador of this direction, diversity inclusion direction, and all questions that the company has about women empowerment principles, he answers for these questions and he coordinates this work. So globally, they have very strong leaders for this direction, for implement this direction. Second company, it's Starlight Media Company. They introduced feminine forms in policies and everyday communications. And if you think that it's a not big deal, for Ukraine, that's a big issue, and we have a lot of controversial discussion about this. And also the company developed a parental support program covering maternity less costs, work transportation, remote work support. So they have a flexible schedule and many, many other activities. This company start from beginning in a self-assessment. They had just 15% of the level of 15% of range according to self-assessment, but now they are 75%. Intellias company, it's a global technology company headquartered in Ukraine, specializing in software engineering and IT services. So this company has introduced a gender equality and equal opportunity policy. And they include in this policy the topic about discrimination, topic about child support, topic about women representation in IT, and they built very good, very nice community with many NGOs that work in women in tech. Next slide, please. So next principle, second principle, it's about workplace and safe workplace, and it's about balance, work and life, and etc. So as you can see from the screen, the 43% of companies help women to balance between life at home and life in work. They have a very professional recruitment, and they pay attention for this. The companies who pay attention in this direction is 41% of companies who is the signatories website. They help with the maternity leave. 40% of companies, they have the policy under discrimination and equality, gender equality, it's 33%. And they also has a paternity leave, it's 16 companies and 60% of companies. And again, if you will think that it's not a big deal for Ukraine, it's a big deal for Ukraine, because before 2017, only 2% of men use this opportunity and look after their children. Most of people who look after children, it's a mother, it's a female. Next, please. So this principle about women and men at work, yeah, it's not just about create some activities for them. It's not about to help them in workplace, but it's also to support them outside of work, and it's about support them in difficult life circumstances. It's focused on creating opportunity for them to grow and to came back from, for example, maternity leave to workplace. And here is you can see the example of Intellias company. Intellias has implemented a policy on combining human trafficking and modern slavery. It's very important part that they include in their policy. And they create very ethical working conditions, but human trafficking and exploitation. They very clearly share this information with their partners. They very protect themselves, like reputation from reputation crisis, and and when they have partners and when they work with other companies, and all their clients and stakeholders know that they very pay attention for this direction, and they very check their stakeholders for their reputation. Next, please. The next principle is principle about health, safety, and well-being. It's many companies leaders believe that there's no issues about this and everything very self-evident. But however, in reality, the sexual harassment or various forms of discrimination and domestic violence very prevalent in the lives of women and has an impact for their productivity at work. So we need to pay attention of this for this, and this is turn leads to decreased company efficiency and increased employee turnover. So the company Intellias, and also you have a case here, a company of DTEC, they starting to create very professional politic about this to save and to create very healthy workplace for their employees. Intellias implemented a harassment policy and creative, comfortable, and safe working place. And company DTEC gives the opportunity to work women instead of men, because men, a lot of men in the war from their company. It's a company from east of Ukraine. They work with electricity, and they work with mines. They have this industry direction. And currently you can see that 451 female miners work at 9 DTEC mines, and 76 future female miners are studying and will have this profession. Again, it's a very important step for Ukrainian women to choose and to have this opportunity, because before war started, not of them can be involved in this position, and not all of them can work like in male dominate profession. Next, please. So principle 4, it's education, training, professional development for women. This is about the stereotypes that are ingrained from childhood and share how girls perceive the world and their opportunities. If it's possible, can we watch the video movie about the kids in school now, or leave it? Let's watch. We'll watch later. Maybe not switch and not disturb.
I think we can watch.
Yeah, if we can. Yeah.
Then Sabin has to click 3 more slides ahead.
Maybe later. Okay. Yeah. So maybe not switch. Yeah.
It's switching.
Jump.
One more ahead. Forward.
Next one.
Next one. The next one. No, not this one.
Yeah,
the next.
yes,
This one. Thank you.
Have a look this end.
This afternoon, we're going to draw people doing different jobs. And the first job we're going to draw is a firefighter.
Have a think in your head what a firefighter looks like.
What's your firefighter called?
Mine's called Firefighter Gary. Firefighter Stan. Firefighter Simon. He's big and strong. He's got a big helmet on. That's brilliant, isn't it?
Next, we're going to draw a surgeon.
Have you thought of a name for your surgeon? Jim Bob. Jim Bob.
He's a brain surgeon. I think he would wear a stethoscope.
He gives you medicine.
That's his ambulance.
Okay, next, we're going to draw a fighter pilot.
This is his jet plane.
He rescues people.
He likes to do stunts in the air and stuff.
Okay, now who would like to meet these people for real?
Yeah! They're dressed up.
My name's Tamzin and I'm a surgeon in the NHS.
My name's Lauren and I'm a pilot in the Royal Air Force.
My name's Lucy. I'm a firefighter in the London Fire Brigade.
So who wants to know how to do an operation?
Who's putting it on?
Try my stethoscope.
We put this in here. There you go. Now you're a proper fighter pilot.
So into your ears. Can you hear that? Yeah. It's really good. It's much better, yeah, it's much better than my kids' one.
Thank you so much. As you can see about stereotypes, they growing from age of between 5 and 7 years old. So we need to, and I always, when I work with my companies, the companies who I coordinate, that we need to start from school to teach girls not to afraid to be something to try something new and to be in a different profession, and to be a surgery or a pilot and whatever. So this section, principle 4, it's about glass ceiling, it's about sticky floor in workplace, and it's about careers opportunity and support that companies needs to create for women. And women should understand what can they do to grow in their career, to have some position in top management and etc. And companies should create this opportunity for them. Can you jump please for previous slides? Yeah, next one, it's next one. Yeah, next, yeah, this. So this principle 5, it's about marketplace, it's about working with stakeholders, and this principle it's a big challenge for companies, because sometimes companies doesn't know how to work with small and medium enterprises led by women, and where they are, where is these companies. And I always say the principle 5, it's about your external position, it's about your stakeholders, it's about your business partners, it's about your clients, and you should declare for them what exactly you expect from them in this cooperation, what exactly they should provide to be with you and to share with you one value. And in this case, we have not very nice, we have a lot of examples, cooperation between partners where one partner don't share the value about women's support, and we have a reputational risk here, because it's about marketing, it's about advertising, and it's about social network. And if a company who you work with has this harassment in their workplace, or they use the sexual body in their advertising, maybe it's not very not popular, but not users in the EU, but believe me, in Ukraine we still have these examples, and you can see many advertising with a half-naked body, women body. So it's not connect with sale this product, but it's connect with attention to this picture. So it's about gender inclusive products, it's about effective gender equality with supplier, and it's about how you communicate with your stakeholders. So 25% said of our signatories said that they have this gender responsible marketing, and they checked their material and they checked everything what they share with stakeholders, that it's not it was without discrimination or a different form of discrimination of women. And also it's about supply chain. It's about cooperation with women in business and small and medium businesses who lead by women, and it's about if they can be your partners, how you can cooperate with them, how you can involve them, for example, to procurement part of your, when you want to buy something from procurement or tenders direction. So next one. In this slide, you can see an example of cooperation between the few companies. It's a companies Uklon. Uklon, it's a taxi drive companies who work with clients, and Detect companies and MetLife companies. So all of these companies, can you show the next slide, please? All of these companies had the opportunity to work with NGO, Ukrainian Investment and Trade Facilitation Center, and also with UN Women in Ukraine, and they help women in business, small, medium business, to learn new skills. They help them with logistic issues. They support them with events, and it was their part, and they very proud of this cooperation because it's more than 100 women can use this opportunity and to have a new knowledge and to be involved in some networking because of these companies help them to realize this initiative. Next one, please. This example, it's very nice example of cooperation between big corporative companies who is a signature of webs and small companies, Vesna, who work in Bucha and was in survive in Bucha 33 days. And they had one initiative, Mavka initiative, and it's a collaboration between two of these companies because the companies Film UR, they produced Mavka cartoon, and companies Vesna, it's a cosmetic company, and they produced shampoo and different products with Mavka picture, and it was very nice cooperation, and they work very close with these companies and support this big business Film UR support this small company Vesna who survived and relocated from Bucha to Lviv because of war, and they very needed this support, and it was very effective cooperation between two of them. So this principle about cooperation and about, it's not about to select these women in business for purpose, no, but it's about to share information about tenders, to share information about opportunity that you can provide for them, to share information about sources that you can provide for these small and medium companies, because it's very important for them. In Ukraine, most of these companies who lead by women, they work in small village, small towns, small cities, so they don't have many opportunities to earn money. So if you support, like if you are big companies and support this according to the principle 5, I think it's a win-win situation for both of these companies. Next one, please. So next principle, it's very big challenge also for companies because it's about local level, it's about cooperation between local government and big companies, it's about cooperation between small villages and small town people who live in this town, and to share with them understanding why they need support women, why they need advocate women, why they need collaborate with public and create some advocacy companies, why they should conducting this gender sensitive training, for example, or different activities for women. Because if we compare the level of national or city where is a million population and city, like small city villages and towns, it's a big difference between stereotypes and biases, and the big company who wants support women in a local level, they have a big challenges about this, and they need a very big support from local government to provide these activities. So, but still, 30% of companies do this very successfully, and they work, as you can see from this graph, that they work, 24% of them work with support gender equality, yeah, and they do everything with this for this cooperation. What exactly? Next slide. I have an example of two companies. It's a companies Intellios. So they create a very strong community of women, Intelli-women community, and they support each other, and they have a mentorship program for women who live in a village and small cities, so they can have a mentor, and this mentor helps them to grow their career. And also the example, it's the Oshad Bank, it's our financial company, the bank who has award because it's a most inclusive friendly bank in Ukraine, and they provide audit and special audit and about this, and they provide big support with finance issue for women, and collaborate with public organizations and associations that care of people with disabilities. Next one. So, wait a minute. Yeah. 7 principles. Principle 7, it's about self-assessment. It's about do this audit always every year. And as I mentioned, the Starlight Media company, for example, did this audit, provide this audit every year. And when they start to work with UN Women in Ukraine, and they signed this agreement, so their self-assessment was 15%, and now they have 75%. So this principle about how measure and to share a report about their activities according WEBs. And for example, the Fair Expo company, they have a special gender sensitive indicators in all their index and in annual reporting, and they always do this monitoring and evaluation what they provide and what they implement during the year. And every year they have a open report, and they publish this report through their website. And here in the picture you can see they're very proud of this project. So they provide support for women who want to be a driver, and they use the feminine form, and they hire not just men for driver, their big truck. And you can see behind these women, but also women, and they very support this story. It's very successful story for them, but it wasn't easy, the same as for company of the tech, because it's not just about to give them workplace, but it's also create infrastructure about safety, healthy place, because it's about toilet, it's about uniform, it's about many stuff that should be around these women. It's not just about to give them a job. Next one. Generally, if we're talking about companies, and sometimes companies ask, why do I need to sign this agreement, or everything okay in our workplace, we support women, all good, or they say, oh, it's not our direction to support women, we can't support women. So this is example how big companies, that they understand that the women not their customers, like not their main customers, but how they support women through their possibility, how they show the women achievement. It's very inspired, and I include this video and want to share with you, because I think it's a very nice video of advertising, but to pay attention for very important things that we have in our society.
For the first time ever, we've completely reimagined the automobile. Introducing the men's only Ford Explorer, with no windshield wipers, no heater, no turn signals. Wait, no rear view mirror? No GPS, are you kidding? Ah, it's missing all the parts created by women. Wow, whose great idea was that? This Women's History Month, Ford salutes the visionary automotive work by women past, present, and future.
So this is about how admit to achievement of women, how to share this information with clients, and it's very important to understand that. I see it's about this International Women's Days and months that they create this company, like an event. In Soviet Union country, the International Women's Day, it's quite often about beautiful women, flowers, something very nice, cozy, but it's not about smartness, it's not about achievement, it's not about to admit women's achievement, and this is advertising. It shows how we can turn this direction and to admit that women, it's not about always or only about beauty, it's also about different achievements that they have and different opportunities that we can create for them. And for better understanding this direction, I very recommended to read this book, two of these books. It's Lenin, Sheryl Sandberg, and Invisible Women, especially Invisible Women, because it's about scientific approach, how to understand business and what they do to admit women and to include women in their products. Where is the women and where is the taste of products for women, and etc. So it's very nice book and very good for reading and understand these issues better and why it matters. That's all, I think. And please, Hita. Oh, The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Iryna. That was very interesting, and also was really nice to see your practical insights on each of these women's empowerment principles. Very inspiring indeed. So yeah, it also gives us a lot to reflect upon. Can we switch to the next slide? Next one,
Oh
please.
yeah, it's also about our. Sorry, I interrupt you. It's also about next, please. It's also about what we do with and how we work with companies. So we share with them our course, and it will be digital. And I will share with you and with Natalia that you maybe share this with companies. It's about how to achieve gender equality and how to implement this in the workplace. It's recommended by UN Women in Ukraine, and also board game Women in Leadership and Business, how we celebrate Independent International Women's Day and what we can do for them. And we always play the board game with our companies. So if you're interested, please contact with Natalia and I will share this with you.
Thank you so much. So adding up onto that, here I would also like to share some of the available tools. So we are now familiar with the topic, and now the next step will be that how do we kind of start considering, get more information. So there is a website, webs.org, and this is where you find the CEO statement of support. The WEB's Transparency and Accountability Framework. This is where you also get very interesting tools which you can consider. You can also see where you stand. There is a gender gap parity tool. Then there is also ILO guidance papers, examples. There is very good brochure which has been developed by WEBs. And there is also gender action plan template. So all of these tools are there, ready to use, and also if you need guidance, that can also be provided. Can we go to the next slide, please? So this is I just made a screenshot from the brochure of WEBs. There are, I mean, to create the action plan and also implementing WEBs. Of course, CEO statement is the first step towards it, but then there are also some indicators which kind of are recommended to implement. So if you go to the next one, next slide. Exactly. So each principle has certain indicators, and then you can also see where you can get the guidance for those indicators. So there is a process involved, and there is also kind of framework which is easily available to introduce, to implement. When we analyzed the available tools and guidance from the website UN Women, of course, they direct towards generalized approach. So it's quite exhaustive. It requires lots of things that needs to be considered. So what we can also kind of guide you towards, or you can provide you more guidance on how these indicators can be adapted to your specific companies or your businesses. Can we switch to the next slide, please? And we discussed a lot. We dived into the topic. We provided our insights. Me on the normative framework, Iryna more on the practical side, and her her experience working with WEBs. So where you can find support is the first place of support is, of course, the UN Women. So here is the email of the WEBs at unwomen.org. Further support, if you need, there is an email from Iryna and Natalia. So Natalia is the RECONOMY gender and social equity manager. So you can also direct your queries on these emails, and we can try to guide you through the process. I mean, we can guide you through the right tools, or we can guide you to the right resources or the persons that is possible, where you can get lots of help. So with this, I I think we are finished with most of the part of the webinar. And next slide, please. At the end, I would like to summarize the key messages. So the most important ones that I want that to be kind of as a takeaway are: the first is the governments have primary duty to protect human rights, and businesses have a responsibility to respect human rights, which includes the rights of women and girls. So there are many questions surrounding this, and why corporates or why businesses should kind of address gender equality. It is because it is their responsibility, and this responsibility also comes from the legal framework. Because the implementation of the Agenda 2030 gender equality principles, it cannot be done by governments alone. The businesses have a role to play in it. So this is where we stand. So businesses have responsibility to respect human rights. Gender equality is a part of fundamental human rights. Through women's economic empowerment, businesses can contribute towards gender equality and increase profitability. So there are there are advantages. Gender equality is an overarching issue, and women's economic empowerment kind of contributes towards the gender equality. Webs are one of the tools to employ for gender equality in business, and there is no requirement to be member of the UN Global Compact. So you can be signatory to Webs without being member of the UN Global Compact. CEO statement is the first step and also most important tool of Webs. And other principles can be implemented as and how it is possible for the businesses. There is no specific order for implementation. And the support and guidance on Webs can be facilitated by RECONOMY. So with this, I think we've come to the end of the webinar. Next slide, please. And now we will open the floor for the questions and discussions. So Natalia, it would be good if you can moderate and direct the questions as they are relevant to one of us.